Hi, and welcome to the SuccessPaTh show, where Christian business owners share their tips for success to show you how to succeed more effectively with your kingdom goals. And I am really excited about our guest today, Laura Meyer, who came highly recommended. And Laura, let me read her bio for you. As a serial entrepreneur who has scaled multiple 6 and 7-figure online and offline companies over the last 15 years, Laura knows firsthand how hard it is to create a brand that stands out from the crowd. After making the hard decision to close her traditional business without having any idea what she was going to do next, Laura experienced the impact that a network of peers can have on each other. And because of that network and the relationships she had built, Laura was able to reemerge as an expert of experts, a one-to-one high-ticket consultant, and is now dedicated to helping other women scale their businesses with joy. I love that. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I love this topic. So I'm really excited to be here and appreciate it so much.
Yes, and Laura, you said that you had to close your traditional business. What led you to that decision, and how did you move from there to where you are now?
Yeah, it was a difficult decision, of course, whenever you put time and money and resources into something and then it doesn't work out the way that you were thinking. But it was a great business. I was in the photography space for many, many years. I had a chain of children's portrait studios, which then I franchised. But ultimately, as the industry was shifting and changing, I looked at what things were going to look like 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And I just didn't necessarily think that I was going to be able to achieve what my original intention was with growing that business because of all the different shifts and changes that were happening in the marketplace. So I actually decided to just wind everything down and start over and create something new. And that was a really, as you can imagine, difficult decision. And I really felt like God was calling me to say, I really felt like he was saying to me, this is just no longer for you. And I remember being in this pause, where I wasn't intentionally growing the company. I wasn't trying to open new locations or actively, expand. I was just kind of waiting and sitting with that call to be still, and then just realized this was just not, it's just not my destination anymore. And it was a really, really difficult moment. But really one of, honestly, the best decisions. Like, I think listening to God is always a great decision. And it ended up, it really, despite my initial resistance, it ended up being a really, he blessed me beyond my wildest imaginations with what I have today. And the story, obviously, that I'm meant to share with other people. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here so I can do that.
Yes, and I love that you collaborate with your network of peers, and I'm assuming that a lot of them are women. How do you connect with women? Because sometimes there's a huge competition factor with women. So how did you meet this network of peers, and how can others do the same or something similar?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So Kelly Roach is my business partner, and she's one of the fastest growing coaching companies in the country. She's amazing. And she actually hired me to do some branding and some visual work for her. We became friends. I joined her program, and then we became collaborators. And I remember there was a moment probably about a year ago where I came to her and I said, you know what, Kelly, I just don't think that there's anywhere in the market for women who are, consultants and coaches and people who are pretty high level to come together and collaborate and co-create. And I agree with you. I think, especially when I was franchising, I mean, I experienced the absolute worst that is probably possible when it comes to women not supporting women, We've all had the vicious competitor. We've all been undermined by people that we've been trying to, that we thought were, in our corner. That's happened to every single one of us. None of us is immune to that. But I think when we can choose to create something new, when we can choose to move through that, and when we can, open the door, or walk through the door that God has opened for us on new possibilities, that's when we just are able to create this amazing blessing, not only for ourselves, but the people around us. And that has been very much true of my partnership with Kelly. I really felt called to partner with her. And this time of recording, now we have just under 300 women in this networking organization that we recently started, and it's growing. So it's really, really exciting.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And this show, Laura, is about sharing secrets for people, of business owners that are struggling and have been trying maybe for years, maybe in debt, also maybe suffering from depression. I heard that about 49% of entrepreneurs, at least what has been reported, suffer with some kind of mental illness or depression. And just what are some secrets to help those people that may be struggling in their business right now? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think allow it to be simple in the beginning. I think sometimes we could get very caught up in everything and all the things and all the platforms and all of the complexities of growing, a business that has lots of moving pieces. And I run that business. I mean, I had at one point, brand wide about 75 employees in the company that I had. And I really do like to try to keep things as simple as possible now. So for anybody who's listening that has expertise, I'm somebody who really believes that you can grow a small little consultancy coaching company. And when I say little, I mean a couple $100,000 a year, which is not a huge company. It's still considered very much a small business. But you can create this incredible little lifestyle business. You don't have to do the 7-figure and the 8-figure and the hustle thing, because for many of those people, they're not as profitable as the consultant who's maybe bringing in $100,000 or $200,000 a year, and actually most of that is going to profitability, right? And so I think we really have to look at, what is it that we're creating? What type of lifestyle goes along with that business model, and not just look at the outside metrics, the vanity metrics of a 6 or 7-figure or 8-figure business. But again, how can we create income for our families, and so that we can do amazing work for other people? We can give back, we can give to charity, we can serve on nonprofit boards like I'm able to do. And then also, again, what is that lifestyle? How does the lifestyle decision pair up with that business model?
So the lifestyle decision and keeping it simple are two ways that you can lead a very successful 6-figure business.
Yeah.
What are some other secrets of building a 6-figure or multi-6-figure business?
Yeah, I really do think it's networking. I mean, I know a lot of people have a lot of different kind of feelings about networking. It can feel like a waste of time. It can feel like, you're going into a room of other people who are just looking to take from you. That can certainly be the case. But when you get into the right room with the right people who are looking to have those reciprocal relationships, then it can be this kind of incredible place of connection. And that's what we have very much found in the advance. And when you have a smaller business that you're not looking to, run traffic for, you don't need a big YouTube channel. You might need a podcast or something like this to establish credibility. And then I think a network of other people who know, like, and trust you and can make the right introductions to potential clients and partners.
So what do you say to people like me who love COVID? No, not necessarily love COVID. That came out wrong. But love what happened from COVID, that now we can be on Zoom. Now I'm making friends with people all over the world. And I've made more friends now than I've ever made in my whole life. I tend to be more of an introvert, even though I'm a mixtrovert, because I'm very curious. I like to meet new people, but just it really drains me. What would you say to those people that just are like, networking, I've been there, done that, it's not working for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's partially how you go about it, right? And so knowing that when you get into a room of other people doesn't necessarily mean, like, you don't have to, dominate a room, right? Actually, networking is great for introverts because you tend to be a good listener. You tend to be good relationship builders. You tend to be kind of processing and thinking, who do I know that might be a good, introduction for this person? Or, oh, that could be a good fit for my podcast. Or I wonder if I could be on their podcast. When you network in the right way with the right people and the right structure, it's more of those types of conversations that naturally come out of it versus what I think is sometimes a more masculine approach to networking, which is like, let me just sit here and tell you about all my accomplishments, which truthfully doesn't necessarily ever turn into business because, people like to talk about themselves and more than, they want to hear about you. And so if you're sitting there listening and they're talking about themselves and you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually really good at solving those kinds of problems, or I know somebody who's good at solving that type of problem. And you're looking to be generous with, who you know, or the resources that you have, or you just see a client opportunity. It's usually a matter, again, of knowing how to build those relationships so that it turns into business. And then the other thing I would say is a system. If you just go into a room and you're just meeting nice people and you have no system for following up, no system for keeping in touch, then, you could meet the best client in the whole entire world for you, but it won't turn into business. And so that's why that following up and that systemization is so important.
So in person or virtually, which one would you recommend?
I think it depends on the kind of business you have. So if you have a local business, you're a real estate agent, you are an interior designer, and you don't have virtual services, you should probably network locally, right? If you're the kind of person where you're a coach or a consultant and you service people nationally and internationally, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to network locally. You're going to be very limited by, your local geography. And so I think it really depends on the kind of business you have.
I'm glad you said that, because that way you can be more flexible. And does it depend on maybe your strengths and your character, or how would you determine what's better?
I really believe it's where your client is. I think it needs to be less about you and where you're comfortable and your strengths or weaknesses. I think it really has to do with what kind of business you have and what kind of client you have. So for example, if somebody came into our networking and they have a local interior design business and they don't have any virtual services and they don't do anything on the computer, they do all of their designs by hand, right? They're going to network, and they might be in Amsterdam and there's no one else in the networking group that's in Amsterdam. It doesn't make any sense. So I really think it's the kind of business that you have versus like my consulting business. I have 6 very high-end clients that are in the multi-7-figure mark that I'm a fractional chief marketing officer for. Out of those 6, I've only met one in person. I have a kind of business where it'd be more typical for me to not meet my clients in person because they all have online businesses and they run things online, and they'd be looking for the best person for their need, irregardless of where that person lives. Like it wouldn't even cross their mind of, oh, maybe I should find somebody local. No, they're looking for the best talent for that need. And so again, I think it just depends on the type of business.
So have a plan before you go networking, but even before that, make sure you know who your clients are and where they are basically, or what their needs are. So very, very important. And what else would you say is a secret of growing your business or scaling your business to multiple 6 figures?
Yeah, I would really say is decide first how much time you have dedicated to the business, and then create a business that fits into your life versus the other way around. I think for so many people, they're just like, okay, I'll just work, and then the money will come. But if you really look and you say, well, you know what, I have 20 hours a week to dedicate to this consulting company, and then my goal is to make this income, this type of income, then it's pretty easy to back into. All right, well, then I need this many clients at this many retainer rate, and they need to take up this much of my week in order for me able to make that business work, right? Instead of saying, well, like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to sell what I can, and then I'm going to like just, kill myself on delivery, So again, if you can kind of think about, well, how much time do I have for this business? What days do I want to work? What hours of those days do I want to work? What is really available within my my week based on what else I have going on? And then how many clients would I need to be able to meet my ideal income? You'd probably be surprised. You'd probably be surprised as to the few number of clients that you would need at a pretty reasonable price point for you to achieve your ideal outcome when looking at it that way.
That makes a lot of sense. And another question is people like you probably, or like what happened with you, or even at the time of this recording, or maybe in the future, they're going through a transition period. We know that the pandemic caused a lot of that. So there may be some people that they had a successful business that they loved, but now they have to transition into something else, or God is calling them to transition to something else, but they have no idea what to do. What are some practical steps on what to do from there?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Think about what people always come to you for. What do they always come to you for advice for? What is the thing that again and again and again somebody asks you questions about, they want to hear from you about? Maybe it's that you're always the one that, gives out marriage advice. Maybe you're the one that everybody comes to after they have a baby and they're overwhelmed. Maybe you're that person that always gets asked, if they could look at your copy, and they want advice on whether or not the writing is good. So, but you're just that person and it's no big deal and you do it because it's fun and you're good at it. But usually that's the business you should start. Usually that's the thing that you do for fun. That's not a big deal, that you're really good at. And why would anybody pay for it? That's usually the business that is where the gold mine is.
Awesome. So Laura, you have a wonderful freebie for the audience. Can you describe what that is and why should they go and download this?
Yeah, so it's available in the show notes, and it's the 6 secrets of the multi-six-figure consultant. And if you're a coach or you're a service provider, this will give you some great, 6 very simple steps, very much what I talked about today, that will accelerate the growth of that type of business, that high ticket, low volume consultancy, coaching business, done for you business, so that you can really live your ideal life while creating your dream as an entrepreneur.
So it is possible to live your ideal life and have the career and have the life as well.
Yes, it's totally possible.
Amazing. And I guess I should ask you, how do you do it with joy?
Yeah, I really try to have fun. I really do try to have fun with my business. It's not every day. It's not that I look forward to every single meeting, but most meetings, I really do try to have a good time. I try to joke, I try to laugh. I laugh with my team, I laugh with my family. I just think it's like laughter's important. It is. I think joy is important. And I think for many times as an entrepreneur, we forget that the reason why we got into this in the first place is so that we could enjoy our life, and I think we have so much freedom here in this country in which we live, and we have so many blessings. And I think it's important to remember that and to be joyful around those ideas.
I love that. Joy is super important. Laughter is super important. I mean, it could diffuse a very tense situation. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
And Laura, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so probably the best place to find me is on Instagram. It's Laura E. Meyer. And then the network that I started with Kelly is called the Advanced Expert Network. We're on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the places, but those are the best places to find me.
Wonderful. And for what I ask guests is, I'm sure you prayed about being on the broadcast, and there's some people out there that may be really struggling right now, really seeking answers. What is something that maybe Holy Spirit is bubbling up inside of you that you should share with somebody, or what is in your heart that you might want to share with somebody out there that may need some encouragement?
Yeah, I mean, really what comes to mind for me it is in Psalms, and it's funny, I usually have it around. I have to look where it went, but it's this idea of waiting on the Lord. Like, it is okay if you just listen to me and you're like, gosh, she really knows what she's doing, and like I don't, and like it will come. There are so many seasons where I had no idea what was next for me. And like, it will come. He will show you what the right thing is in his timing. And he knows more than we do what our next best step is, right? And it's just waiting on that calling and then walking into it when you feel it.
I love that. Even though sometimes it could feel like, God, where are you in the waiting?
Oh, yeah. think we've all been there. Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you usually wait on God?
Sometimes it's clear. Like I reached out to somebody yesterday and she's like, oh my gosh, my timing, that timing. And I was like, I felt it was pretty clear to reach out to you. But usually it's a peace. It's like where there's peace, there's God. And where there's, if I have a peace about a decision, I'm like, okay, and it's just kind of like, I don't have peace about it. I can't even put my finger on why I don't have peace about something. I'm like, okay, I hear you. And I think obedience is really important.
Yes. Well, I'm so glad that you came by, Laura, and shared all these. You say there's simple tips, so I'm really excited because these are things that people are going to be able to implement. It's not something complicated, and that building a business that you love, if you want that multi-six-figure business, that it is possible. So thank you for your encouragement and for maybe even opening people's eyes to possibilities in this episode. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my honor. Thank you so much for having me.
And to you, the viewer, please put your biggest takeaways in the comments. Also, subscribe to this channel and share it so that we can bring you more content like this for Christian business owners. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next episode. God bless.